Hello everyone, me again. So the next video is about budgets still, but we are going to look at specific theory type analytic questions that they can ask on grade 11, but specifically on grade 12 level that you need to be able to do and how to think about it. It's just a couple of things to just help you prepare for a budget question in general. So I hope you enjoy it and please remember to subscribe to my channel and ring the bell if you want notifications for when I'll be loading new videos. Thanks.
Okay, so the first part is just 3 general questions that they also like to ask. They can do it in different ways, but you need to know the answer between or the answer to these 3 questions. So firstly, the first question says, what is the difference between a cash budget and a projected income statement? So if we go and look at the cash budget, the first thing you need to know is that it deals with only cash. It looks at the cash situation of the business and it is there to forecast the cash situation of the business. So we are looking at whether we have a cash surplus or a cash deficit in the months to follow. Then we need to know what is a projected income statement. A projected income statement, like a normal income statement, will help me project or forecast whether I will have a profit or a loss in the months to come. So this forecast of a profit or loss will help me plan and adjust what I need to do accordingly. Next up, we've got 2 items that will appear only in the cash budget, and then the other question that below that says 2 items that will appear in the projected income statement and then not in the cash budget. So there are certain items that will only appear in one of the 2. So let's look at the list. Projected cash budget first. So the following items will only appear in my cash budget: receipts from debtors, payments to creditors, when I receive a loan, when I invest a fixed deposit, drawings of cash, when I buy a property or equipment or a vehicle, and then the money I receive when I sell a vehicle or equipment. Those items will only appear in my cash budget. What will appear in my projected income statement only and not in the cash budget? Non-cash items like depreciation, bad debts, discount received, discount allowed. Right, so the next question looks at comparing what I budgeted for and what actually happened. So you'll see there I've got what I budgeted for advertising and what I actually spent on advertising. The same with telephone, repairs and maintenance, and stationery. And then you need to comment on the control over these expenses, and we need to quote figures. So you will see that the actual amount that I spent for advertising is actually less than the budgeted amount. Telephone is more, repairs and maintenance is less, and stationery is less. They are all expenses, so we normally think, okay, well, for expenses, if I save on expenses, then great, I'll be happy. But I want to show you today that we don't always want to save on all our expenses. So for advertising, I never want to spend less. So I'm not happy about advertising. The reason why I don't want to spend less on advertising is if I spend less on advertising, my sales might go down, because I am not getting word out to my customers about any specials or just making them aware of my business. So advertising may never be less because it might result in a decrease in sales. Never save on advertising. For telephone, that's more. Obviously, I don't want my expense to be more, especially telephone. In this case, it might be that I've made private calls or my employees made private calls. So I will have to make sure that I've got measures in place, like having a call log, or every staff member must have a code to enter so that I can go and assess at the end of the month, who did they phone, where was the long calls, maybe it's just 1 or 2 employees. So I never want that to be less. So again, if we compare this to advertising, I don't mind if advertising is a bit more, but then sales must go hand in hand with that. If my sales increased, if I advertised more, then great, okay? Telephone, I never wanted to be more. I think private calls were made. Repairs and maintenance is also less. I am not happy about that. Repairs and maintenance is very important for my business. You must regularly repair and maintain your assets. If you don't, then they might end up breaking, or and in the breaking they might stop production or whatever you're doing in your business. So you must always make sure that you regularly maintain your assets. So a decrease from the budgeted to the actual shows me that I might have missed an appointment or missed to call the guy to come in and do my regular maintenance. Stationery is less, and I'm happy about that. I have saved. Stationery is a general expense, so I don't mind saving on something like stationery. The next part is looking at an extract of the cash budget. You'll see I only have one receipt over there, so I'm not giving you a full cash budget. I'm just giving you sort of an idea of how it will look. I've got my surplus here at the bottom and my amounts. The first question that we are going to look at is to calculate the amount that we repaid on the loan on the last day of October. So if you go and look over there, you will see I've got interest for September, interest for October, and then the interest amount changed. So between October and November, I paid back my loan on the last day of October. We need to work that out. You will see I've also indicated that the interest is 12%. So we're going to use the 12% and the interest amount to work out my full loan that I started with. So in order to do that, we are going to go back and say, how did I work out the interest amount? 12% times the loan amount times 1 over 12 will give me the 500 Rand. 1 over 12 because the 500 Rand is for 1 month. So instead of writing loan, I'm doing a mathematical equation and I'm substituting that with X, and then it looks like that. And then X will be 50,000. Okay, how did I do that? These two are below the line, so I'm going to multiply on that side and I'm going to divide on that side with a 12. So then I'm going to do the same with the 400, because if I get the full loan over there and the full loan over there, then I can figure out what I paid back. So we're going to do exactly the same thing. The loan amount times 12% times 1 over 12 will give me 400 Rand. So I substitute the loan with X, and then I just go and work out what is X. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to multiply with 12, I'm going to multiply with 100, and I'm going to divide with that 12, and then I get 40,000. So the amount that I repaid on my loan is 10,000. Okay, so I like asking something like this where you have to solve X. The next question tells me that I need to calculate the amount profit or loss that I made with the sale, and they tell me that the carrying value on the day of the sale is 30,000. So you'll see that I got money for my vehicle in October, 12,000. The carrying value is 30. So we need to do an asset disposal account. And I filled it in up till there. I don't know if it's a loss or whether it's a profit. What I do know is that I received 12,000 Rand cash. You also need to know that the carrying value is the cost minus accumulated depreciation. That gives me 30,000 Rand. Cost minus accumulated depreciation. And technically you can fill in anything over there. So let's say the cost was 90,000. Then it means my accumulated depreciation will be 60. 90 minus 60 will give me the 30. Okay, as long as these two amounts, the difference gives me 30, you can fill in anything. And then it will work out that I need another 18,000 over here so that both sides will add up to my 90,000 Rand. And that will then be the loss. Okay. The next question focuses on salaries and wages. So you will see that my salaries increased as well as my wages. And they want us to firstly work out that increase percentage for both. So salaries will be 28,750, okay, minus 25,000, I need the difference, divided by 25,000 times 100. And for wages, we are going to do the same thing. The difference in my wages that I got is 240. So 240 divided by the 6,000, it's the same that I did for salaries, times 100. And then I get my answer. So the salaries got a 15% increase compared to wages that got a 4% increase. Okay. And then my last question says, will the wage workers be satisfied with the increase? Explain in full. So the first thing that we always do is we are going to compare it with inflation. And inflation is something between 4 and 6%. They got a 4% increase for wages. So it is sort of below inflation, so they will not be happy. That's the first point that we write down. The second thing that we are going to look at is the cash of the business. And if I go and look over there, I have a surplus every single month, and my cash in my bank balance is also growing every single month, which means there are funds available to give them a higher increase. So no, again, they will not be happy. You need to comment and quote over here that the bank balance at the end of the month went from 47,000 to 95,000 Rand. Amounts are also important. So it's a positive cash flow situation. And then with that, the salaries got a 15% increase compared to the wages, who only got 4. So all of this included, they will not be satisfied.